so they know that they are in good form at home. A 1-0 win against Manly United last time out. Mason Wells getting on the score sheet there. Ante Juric makes just the 2 changes with Mario Chabot and Adrian Vlastelica coming into the side in place of Anthony Tomilic and Aiden Milicevic. As for the rest of the starting 11 for Ante Juric, it goes like this. Number 3 is Bailey Rule, 4 the returning captain. At the back is Vlastelica. 8 in midfield is Chabot. 9 leading the line, Patrick Antelmi. Also in midfield alongside Chabot is Carlos de Oliveira. Number 11 is Matt Hatch. 14 McGing. 17 Michael Glassick. 23 is Mason Wells. 31 replacing Tristan Prendergast in goal over the last couple of weeks is Josip Orlovic. 32 is Leroy Jennings. Well, the story of the Cup so far has undoubtedly been United's opponents, the SD Raiders. They have knocked off 3 NPL sides so far this campaign, looking to make it 4th en route to a historic Waratah Cup final run for Goran Luboya's side. And he's had to make plenty of changes, a total of 6 from the side that drew against MacArthur on the weekend as his side get play underway. We'll get to their lineup in just a moment. Meanwhile, they've launched it down the other end, looking to cause problems, but seen away by McGing. He's being pressed immediately by Fernandez, and that'll give us a brief moment in play. So a total of 6 changes, including the absence of their leader and goal scorer, Noah Chianese, as Vlastelica plays his way. Launches an effort forward intended for Jennings. Patch has to flick it inside, does well to evade the defenders. Now it's with De Oliveira and Telmi. You'd expect United to keep their foot on the ball early in proceedings. It's pinched away though. That's well won back by Marcic, who also got on the score sheet. Now SD Raiders can recycle possession. It's with James Letter at the back. So the full 11 for SD Raiders is number 1 in goal, Michael Figueira. Number 2, Ham Dongwa, one of the new inclusions. Number 4 is Cooper Hannigan. 7, the goal scorer last time out in the Cup, Mikhail Marcic. 8 is James Letter. 10 is Yado Torn Fernandez. 12 is Lachlan McGrath. 15 is Matthew Lee. 18 is Riley Cox-Barlow. 22 is Jonathan Sabatu. And 30 is Oliver Velnich. There's Chianese and Marcic that got the job done against Blacktown City at Landon Stadium last week. Coincidentally, both these sides won their quarter-final matchup in the Waratah Cup via the penalty shootout. We'll see what drama we could be set for here as Fernandez turns on the ball. That's come off our referee. Stephen Lucas out there in the middle for us tonight. An experienced head, no doubt, to see how these proceedings go. Of course, this is potentially a bit of a taster for SD Raiders. They've shown a lot against NPL opposition. No doubt their promotion campaign is front of mind as well. As Carlos de Oliveira wins possession under a heavy challenge by Cooper Hannigan, and it is boisterous from both benches out there, to say the least. There is plenty on the line in this game. United with a chance to take home some silverware in the Cup, something they know all too well, and they've been given a decent opportunity. Meanwhile, Chabot is down the other end, looking to latch onto that pass, but it'll be rolled out by Jonathan Sabatu. Whilst SD Raiders themselves have come into this game in largely good form this season, the last few weeks they haven't been at their sparkling best. Compare that to United, who have strung back 3 wins in a row in all competitions. But United have had their weaknesses this season. Consistency across the 90 has been the difficulty for Ante Juric's side. We saw that a couple of weeks ago in their match against Sydney FC, where they had to rely on a 90th minute winner to get it done against the academy side with 10 men. Heads up switch of play by Wells. Jennings sends it back over to the other wing. Nodded forward, intended for Wells. Broken up well by Matthew Lee. Fernandez had it pinched off him, but it stays with Dongwa. Fast start to proceedings here. Both these teams do like to play fast. Some of the football that SD Raiders have been playing down in League One has been really eye-catching. It's made for such an exciting promotion race. And admittedly, some of that has been off the back of the Raiders dropping points, which has tightened their lead at the top as Antelmi can't quite link up with Matt Hatch. Hatch and Rule, such marauding fullbacks for United, which will no doubt pose serious questions for this SD Raiders defence. Marcic was the intended man off that Velnic header. Orlovic. Vlastelica looking between the lines for Antelmi. Familiar target there as De Oliveira looks to play Jennings around the corner, but was unable to swerve that ball into the field of play. Of course, if you're not aware already, there's another Waratah Cup semi-final taking place right now. That one down at Lambert Park between Apia Leichhardt and the Northern Tigers. Another NPL versus League One matchup. It's a genuine possibility that we could have two League One sides in the Waratah Cup final. The draw has been favourable to us in that respect. And we could equally just have none if both the NPL sides do their job. Meanwhile, Matt Hatch has the throw deep in territory here for United. Antelmi wins it back in a favourable area. Now with Hatch. Has found the open man, which is Glasic, and they can swing the ball out to the right here, but his pass is loose, which has invited an important touch by Cox Barlow. One back. It's a real battle in midfield. Neither side have been able to string together more than 2 or 3 passes for consistent periods of this opening 5 minutes, and it's a sign that the SD Raiders, the League One outfit, have certainly come to play proactively against United. Here is Vlastelica. McGing. Rule. Sharp football now from United. A rare chance for them to keep it. Vlastelica looking for that trademark driven pass across the pitch. He's done well to find Chabot. Wells drifting inwards, linking up. It's with Chabot, and that's the first chance of the game for United, but it won't go down as a significant one. But nevertheless, it all starts off the back of some quick football at the feet of Mason Wells. Patrick Antelmi linking up there. As now United look to press in too with De Oliveira. And they force that ball out of play. Cox Barlow unable to keep it in. Of course, Cox Barlow is suspended in the league at the moment, as is the man on the bench, Noah Anderson. Those two have accumulated 5 yellow cards in the league. It doesn't apply to the Waratah Cup, so they're able to play, which is good news for the SD Raiders, especially with some key players on the bench. And so far, the game has gone as perhaps predicted. United controlling slightly more of the ball and keeping SD Raiders down their end of the pitch, but United will be all too familiar with holding a lot of the ball, but have been unable to capitalise at times this season. But when they have looked good, United, they are a really, really difficult side to play against. It's just their consistency at the moment which separates them in 6th compared to teams above them in the top 4. McGing has found De Oliveira on the turn between the pockets in midfield, and now he can play Wells, who has his defender isolated. Wells, quick burst of speed, looking for Antelmi. Broken up by Letta. Well, Bailey Rule just left it behind there, has allowed Fernandez to pinch it off him. The Raiders can think about a counter-attack, but touch was too heavy. And that means United can reset possession well. Tomilich. McGing rather. With Vlastelica. Tomilich out there today as De Oliveira, or Chabot rather, has his man all over him. Now it's with Wells. Him and Telmi look to work the combinations. An outstretched leg from Sabatu does just enough to divert the ball away from its path. And Telmi loses it under the challenge. And SC Raiders, they have won the ball back, but it's a case of them being forced deep, and the counter-attack is always going to be difficult to mount with their numbers penned in. As McGing is fouled by Velnich, or rather, foul will go on Cox Barlow. SC Raiders will be happy with how the first 10 minutes have gone. They've, yes, given up a lot of possession, but they've largely contained United. As Hatch tries to make progress down the wing. Pass was a little under-hit. Hannigan able to regain it for the Raiders. Good switch by Figueira. Lost by Sabatu. Slightly slippery pitch. It is perhaps a bit of moisture with the cold as United look to get going in here. And that's seen all the way. Nice and easy by Figueira. Wells again has proven to be a dangerous customer so far. Arguably the form player of this Sydney United side. He would have been the man at the top of the scouting report for the Raiders. Meanwhile, they could think about a counter-attack. Fernandez, first chance forward as he can't quite wrap his foot around the ball there. And it's calmly and coolly dealt with by Sydney United 58 and Leroy Jennings. Classic, almost had it taken off him. Chabot. De Oliveira. Such great midfield balance United have with Classic holding De Oliveira and Chabot given such license to play make. There is Rule. Had a brace a couple of weeks ago, an unlikely brace that is for Bailey Rule against Sydney FC. Former Northern Tigers man himself, his former side. He could meet in the Waratah Cup final perhaps. Classic sends that high. And McGrath is fouled. Nice little crowd. Still streaming in, of course. Late from the Wednesday night shift. A few SD Raiders juniors and fans out to support their side in a potentially historic result for them. Even if they don't make it to the final, it's been such a great campaign to knock off 3 NPL sides throughout the course of a Waratah Cup campaign. And perhaps even more importantly, they've got a shot at the national stage. And they could host A-League opposition, the SD Raiders. What a tale that would be. And we've seen just what the Australia Cup can do for League One sides. You can point to the Northwest Sydney Spirit as a prime example of that. They won the Waratah Cup when they were in League One. Got to the Australia Cup and have gotten back there since, even when they have been in the NPL. And from there, they now sit comfortably inside the top 4 of the NPL New South Wales competition. And when you look at the SD Raiders, there's a lot of similarities there. Association side that's been slowly building but is well built. Hannigan rides the initial challenge. The Raiders starting to slowly mount some pressure here. Sabatu. Letta. McGrath. Ambitious crossfield switches broken up and read by Wells, and this is where Wells and United are potentially dangerous, but they're just not on the same wavelength there. Lee is able to take it without too much trouble. Marcic will try his luck from range. And he had Orlovic interested. Marcic was swerving away to Orlovic's right side. And he had to make a dive towards it, but a little sighter there from the SD Raiders, just reminding United that they are dangerous. Vlastelica goes route one over the top to Jennings, and he's found him perfectly here. Jennings in the box will try his shot, but it's deflected only as far as Antelmi. Shot is swerving, but away by Chabot. And sometimes that simple over-the-top pass by Vlastelica is the most effective one. It's what he's done for so long in the NPL competition, Adrian Vlastelica. It's why he leads this United side. He can play those 40-yard passes that just unlock defenses. De Oliveira, almost the fortunate beneficiary there of some good pressing work. Meanwhile, United have won it back. Jennings, quick check of the shoulder from Chabot. He sees Wells in a bit of space. This is where he likes to operate. Mason Wells, the trickery, getting to the byline, looking for Antelmi. Raiders are able to defuse that particular situation, and Goran Laboya is barking out instructions from the bench to our left. Hatch. Haven't seen too much of Hatch or Rule getting forward. Usually when United do hold a lot of the ball, you'll see them bomb on. As Jennings is into the corner here, tries to dance along the sideline, but that one is out of play. Jennings and Wells have been in such good form recently. It's been a big part of their run. Vlastelica sends that up, and that might just go onto the roof here. Set it falls slightly short, just below us in the lower tier of the Boca stand, a venue that has seen so much drama in recent weeks. I mean, they played the Rage here a couple of weeks ago, and yes, it was a 1-0 win for United, but it wasn't exactly the dominant, comfortable performance that perhaps they would have expected against the League 2 side. And then a couple of weeks before that, you had the 10-9 penalty shootout thriller against Sydney Olympic that went all the way to the keepers. Tristan Prendergast, who's not in the team today, scored the winning penalty and saved his opposite numbers penalty, Jack Gibson from Olympic. I wonder if Orlovic has been practicing his pens this week in anticipation of that. You'd hope for United's sake that it wouldn't come to that. Raiders themselves defeated Rockdale Ellington 5-4 on penalties. And that was a dramatic game in and of itself. They were up 3-2 and then conceded a 95th minute equaliser. Wells this time is defended and forced out of play, but United continue to hold the lion's share of the ball through this first part of the game. Haven't really forced Figueira into a major save as of yet, but we'll see how the rest of the half unfolds. Clearance is slightly shanked, but eventually not cleared. And Telmi was looking to get on the shoulder of his man. Rule had the right intention, but half a metre away from executing that pass. And that was a potentially golden opportunity there for United. It's been a little while since the Raiders have found their way out of their own half. Glasic. Vlastelica. Slides it to Hatch. First time pass, quick football between him and De Oliveira. Hatch. Under heavy pressure. Was looking for a foul, as was De Oliveira. Nothing doing from Stephen Lucas. SD Raiders are under the press. You have to be careful, and they've turned it over, but bailed out by the foul. That one from De Oliveira, I believe, a bit too eager in the back of his defender, but they were oh so close to giving it away there, the SD Raiders. Gives them a chance to get a bit of breathing space now with the ball at their feet. In the last 10 minutes or so, they've been largely defending for such long periods. Here is Michael Figueira, now with James Letter. McGrath drives forward. He's forced into an errant pass by Chabot. Hatch looks down the line towards Antelmi, who nods it centrally. It's going to be broken up, though, by Velnic. Quick turn by Marcic. Now he has his head up. Looking for Velnic. And that pass will skip away from him. That'll be a United goal kick, but just a couple of brief flashes in these moments from the SD Raiders that have shown us what they could produce. Jennings has his shirt pulled, a fairly obvious one there from Cooper Hannigan. Or rather, it wasn't a shirt pull, it's actually an offside. A passive offside called back from Jennings. Thought for all money there he was about to be paid a foul. I think Hannigan might have perhaps gotten away with one there. And now the SD Raiders just building their way into this game slowly. They'll be content to have rode out the first 20 minutes. The key for them is just establishing a bit of a foothold in this game, not letting United take control in terms of the scoreboard and chances. Yes, United have had plenty of the ball, but they haven't really forced Figueira into too many major saves. The key is now making use of the ball when they do have it. It's with Lee. Ambitious pass is out of play. Hatch with the throw. He's looking for something down the line perhaps. Jennings checks in short now and Telmi makes his move. And Telmi, under heavy pressure, was looking for Jennings as Lee, a little high there I believe on Jennings, which attracted the referee's whistle. Despite their strengths this season, the SD Raiders, they are third in the League One men's competition in terms of goals scored, but they've actually gone a little bit dry in front of goal in recent weeks. Just the one goal scored in their last 3 matches, including a 0-0 draw against the Rams, and then 2 weeks ago, a 3-0 loss against Bankstown City. Meanwhile, United on the attack. Wells goes down, it's waved away. Looked like he went down rather easily there. Had Antelmi waiting for him in the area. But just when the Raiders were seemingly fighting their feet in this game, United quickly have perhaps not even a half shout, maybe a quarter shout of a penalty. Hatch swings it to Glassick. This is a familiar pattern of play for United in these opening stages. The 6-time winners of the Waratah Cup. What a great run that has been for them. Most recently back in 2023 where they were able to win it, and that's good defending there by Cooper Hannigan. Nods it down well, and now they can think about bursting forward here, but Hannigan's progress is halted by Jennings, who tracks back well. Speed is as much of an asset in defence as it is in attack. You'd think the longer this game stays at 0-0, the more favourable it would be for the SD Raiders. You'd think the message from Ante Juric would have been to establish control of the game early and not let the Raiders build momentum, but now things have evened out a little bit, it seems. Ambitious pass. It's almost picked off in midfield, but the Raiders can benefit from it. Fernandez, advantage played. The attack keeps moving for the SD Raiders. Cox Barlow looks to get around Wells. Almost showed a bit too much of it to him, but now he's done well under heavy pressure. Looking centrally for Velnic. Hatch clears away, but another good sight there from the SD Raiders, and they can keep this attack going. Hannigan, his first foray really into the attacking third. Velnic eyes up a potential cross, decides against the low percentage option. Hannigan, quick turn and deflects towards goal, and sliding through there was Marcic. He was inches away from getting his toes onto that one, and Orlovic had committed to the shot, which was deflected slightly wide. And slowly, the SD Raiders are firing a couple of warning shots towards United. It all started with Hannigan, who was just left all alone on the edge of the 18-yard box. Wasn't really picked up by anyone. He's had a tidy game at right fullback so far, Cooper Hannigan, and now he looks to unleash Marcic forward. The commentator's curse strikes as he gives it away. Meanwhile, Velnic has pinched it off Hatch. Velnic, lovely cut inside. Tackle from De Oliveira was clean, and they're unable to get the second ball, but they win the third one with Lee. Meanwhile, Velnic has gone down here. Looked like he was momentarily about to get up. And Oliver Velnic is back on the deck. Two goals to his name in first grade this season. Velnic, who's played most of his time in the 20s, has been given the big starting nod here tonight. Certainly can find the back of the net, that is for sure. Scored a couple of weeks ago in their round 17 match against Hakoah. In League One, that was. And so his recent form has been rewarded, especially with the slightly rotated side from Goran Laboya. So far, despite making 6 changes to their side on the weekend, they've really put in a good shift. Sabatu and De Oliveira are locked in a battle for the ball down in the corner. That'll stay with the Raiders for now. Switch of play out to Hannigan's wing. Marcic was thinking about the short ball rather than the one over the top. Hannigan, who has appeared in all but 2 of their League One men's games this season. A 26-year-old. Wells, good first touch to bring it down. Now he looks for the strike on goal, and it had real venom behind it. But from a tight angle, he was always going to be ambitious from that sort of angle. Scores locked at 0-0 over at Lambert Park, half an hour gone. So 2 very tight Cup semi-finals. Cup games are usually very cagey affairs, although some of the games that these sides have played in recent weeks haven't really suggested that. Vlasic wins it in the air, but it's off the back of Marcic, which means he's still in the play and he's won the ball here. Wells, a bit late to the touch there. And Stephen Lucas calls it back. A wintry old night for football here in Odense Park. Temperatures around 11-12 degrees. Very clear though, which is good news for us, and it's meant that a nice crowd is built in. So an opportunity from this set piece awaits. Whipped in, De Oliveira's the man up for it. One back. Vlastelica has to hook it clear. Eventually comes down to the feet of Marcic, who turns away from a couple of United defenders. He's been very shifty to start this game. Now it's wide for Velnic. Shapes the cross. Now he tries to go forwards, but opts for the more patient play with Sabatu. Velnic. Marcic. Last touch off United. It'll be a Raiders throw deep in the attacking third. In these last 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, the ST Raiders have found a few more avenues through the United defence. Hannigan is looking for something ahead of him. Now he gets it back. Jennings has work to do, and he's done well to win his side a throw here, which will just relieve that pressure ever so slightly. Cries of handball right in front of Ante Juric, who was convinced. Now they knock it around the back. The press is coming, but they've done well to get through United mostly, as they've turned over the possession there with a long ball, but Lee is up to win it. De Oliveira was on his back. Wells pitches in to help out, and now Chabot is thinking about bursting forward before McGrath able to calm things down from his perspective. And now the Raiders have some green shirts bursting forward here. Cox Barlow sends his defender one way, then the other. He's beaten the first man, but he's got a second for company. There's Bailey Rule. Able to win his side a goal kick. So just over 10 minutes to go, plus you'd think very minimal amount of stoppage time here in the Waratah Cup semi-final, but from the SD Raiders it has been a thorough showing. Perhaps just looking for a couple more chances to add to some of their recent possession. United dominated proceedings in the first 15 minutes. But since then, slowly, the SD Raiders have looked more comfortable in this game. Dongwa gets told to get back up by Stephen Lucas, and now he goes to ground. That one will be a foul. Sabatu is in a hurry. And now Ham Dongwa is on the ground here. 19-year-old. Appeared in all but one of their games this season. 5 appearances off the bench for Dongwa. Gets the nod in the start today, as he has done so for most of the season. Does have a couple of goals to his name as well. That was back in the early stages in that 11-0 win against Parkley FC in the preliminary rounds of the Cup. Meanwhile, his side are on the attack, and they've been paid a foul here, and this is an intriguing position for the SD Raiders, about 30 yards out from goal. Fernandez will stand over this one. Would take quite something to beat Orlovich from here, but it's nevertheless a very solid set-piece opportunity for the Raiders. Fernandez stands over it. He's also... And now Stephen Lucas has to do a bit of housekeeping here. A little bit of extracurriculars around the edge of the area. Dongwa is also standing over this one. I wonder if they could be looking at some sort of variation, particularly after they might have played their hand on that first one. It looks like Fernandez will get a second go at a shot. All of which is set 4 in the wall in anticipation for this. Fernandez, that time the wall does its job. And it'll ricochet back out. Fernandez elects to keep it in and dashes around his defender well. Fernandez, essentially for Cox Barlow. There was one at back here. Done well to put his body between defender and ball, and now he's putting a dangerous effort. Marcic was rushing through. That was a great opportunity for the sort of player you want in that position, but just couldn't quite connect there, Mikhail Marcic. Dongwa able to recycle possession well. These last 10 minutes has belonged to the SD Raiders. Now they look for Fernandez. And again, the story for the SD Raiders is just inches away from connecting with some of these really dangerous passes into the area. And Telmy puts it on his chest. Looks to unlock Mason Wells. How will United respond? Chabot. They move it from right to left. De Oliveira. To the feet of Jennings. Stands his man up. They adopt a more patient approach. Hatch. De Oliveira. Searching for something. Instead he goes back to Glassick. It's been a real punch, counter-punch type of game through 36 minutes here at Adensa Park. Vlastelica. Rule has gotten well forward here. Just goes over his head, which means it'll be an SD Raiders goal kick. Try and box the Raiders in here, but the Raiders have seemingly played out on most occasions. That time they're able to stop United getting forward quickly as they've committed a foul. And this will mean the tall timber will stride forward for Sydney United 58. Michael Glassick and Vlastelica alongside Liam McGing are going to march their way forward here. De Oliveira stands over it. This poses as a potentially critical juncture in this game. 8 minutes to go before half-time. De Oliveira, a lofted delivery. Will test Figueira, and he meets that test well. Shows good command of his area to take it with 2 hands. Chabot wins it in the air, but it'll come down potentially with Velnic. Hannigan. And Velnic. Marcic. It must be said, the SD Raiders have... You can see why they've knocked off 3 MPL sides, because they've come down here to Sydney United Sports Centre and they have, through 38 minutes of football, put on a good display. Meanwhile, a bad error there by Cooper Hannigan, and he's going to pay for it with the booking. So I've been speaking their praises as to how composed they've been. They give away a needless turnover. And now it's a yellow card for their right fullback. Actually his 8th yellow card of the season. All competitions. Set piece from a similar position, but on the reverse side for United. Vlastelica, McGing and Glassick back in the box now. And there's a bit of push and shove while Stephen Lucas is marking out this wall. Vlastelica and Hannigan are all at the centre of it here, and now there's a bit of a coming together on the edge of the area. And it's seemingly spawned from nothing. It was just, I think, a few players not wanting to concede ground. And now Stephen Lucas has to try and keep a lid on things here. It's slowly been increasing in intensity. This is classic cup football. Just over 5 minutes to go in the first half. A very cagey start here in Sydney Southwest. And Stephen Lucas just has a bit of an extended chat to Vlastelica, and I think Lee, as De Oliveira puts it in. That's a good ball into the area. And it was on the head of Patrick Antelmi, just the man you would want in that sort of position. But from the moment it left his head, it was always rising. Had to crane his neck backwards to reach it. SD Raiders survive another crossing opportunity from the corner. Figueira, launched up top, classic. Wins it in the air. Lee, equally competent. Antelmi. And now, a bit of extras between Antelmi and McGrath there. Meanwhile, Fernandez a bit too eager to try and win that ball there. Some excessive contact on Vlastelica. Vlastelica on the ball. We haven't seen too much of him on the ball in the last 10 minutes, and I think that's gone to the point of SD Raiders controlling possession. As Hatch jags inwards. Quick touches with Antelmi. This is where they look good, United, when they get the ball to Antelmi's feet and they start playing these quick passes around the defence. Here he is again. Patrick Antelmi beats his man. Now he lines up. And he showed a good bit of skill. And the finish was always rising. Fernandez has gone in late and needlessly here, and he's going to be picked up for a booking. And now Liam McGing has just gone and let him know about that challenge. Rather unnecessary from McGing, but he's going to escape from it. Again, it was a fairly clear-cut decision from Stephen Lucas to make. It was late, it was needless from Fernandez, who becomes the second Raider to go into the book. And it's going to be another deep free kick for United, and there's more action on the edge of the box. Plenty of arms being extended here, and Stephen Lucas has a keen eye. He's stationed himself just a couple of metres away from the box just to see what's going on. And now he's pulled Chabot out of the crowd to have a bit of a chat to him. So back underway. De Oliveira to whip it in. Not quite as much depth on this one. It comes back out to Hatch. Ambitious switch for Mason Wells. If it holds up here, it'll be a good ball, and it does. Chabot was the intended man on the edge of the area, and United have committed numbers forward here as the Raiders can race away. Advantage played. Cox Barlow looking cross-field, but McGing is there and well stationed, and now it's end-to-end stuff as De Oliveira has Antelmi and Wells ahead of him. Goes for Antelmi. Chabot, who perhaps we'll see what the outcome of his foul was. Of course, it was his foul that was in the counter-attack where the SD Raiders were playing on with the advantage. We'll see whether Stephen Lucas comes back to address him on that point. Pass is well played by De Oliveira to Wells. Has two defenders for company. Looks to go between them and does. De Oliveira! A scintillating strike from United's number 10. Was teed up by Wells. And it's a strike of real quality from Carlos De Oliveira. Taken first time, swerving with the right foot. Not much Figueira could have done about that. And United take the lead on the stroke of half-time, courtesy of Carlos De Oliveira. Just his third goal of the season. but a fantastic time to get one. And it's off the back of more creativity from Mason Wells.
Sydney United, Carlos de Oliveira. Sydney United 1, ST Raiders 0.
And he would have been thinking about shooting himself there, Mason Wells, once he sandwiched his way through a couple of ST Raiders defenders, but no doubt he would have gotten a big shout from Carlos de Oliveira, who was racing through. And when he hits them like that, you certainly don't blame him. And it'll be just the 1 minute, as predicted, of stoppage time added on for what has been a game played in good spirits. Jennings has switched to the other wing now, and he can get behind. Looking for Antelmi. It might just fall for De Oliveira again. Legs fly from SD Raiders to divert the ball away. Also, no strangers to a bit of adversity in the cup, the SD Raiders. But in a game where they haven't seen too many chances, neither of their opponents, in all honesty. A wayward pass by Letta. And you'd think United won't be in any particular hurry to take this throw. They'll be happy just to see things out to half-time. Still no score between RPA Leichhardt and the Northern Tigers. So that brings the half to a close. It's Carlos de Oliveira's goal that has his side in front. A great strike it was from the top of the 18-yard box, which means the 6-time Waratah Cup holders are just 45 minutes away from going back to the final. A bit of work to do for the SD Raiders, but they've shown plenty of promise and will be disappointed to have conceded, considering some of the possession
tu je neću naći, nećemo još kući, tu je neću naći.
Resume the second half here. A very intriguing half of football awaits. The Raiders showed plenty. They were just unable to capitalise on the possession and some chances that they had. It was mostly around that 20 to 35 minute mark where they were looking especially good. As Velnic moves that wide for the Raiders, and they can get their foot on the ball once more. Keep an eye on both benches for you as this game develops. It's definitely dropped an extra couple of degrees over half time. Players will be wary of that as Sabatu flick is around the corner. Letta moves on for Lee. Swung wide, Hannigan. Now he makes his move inwards. Floated ball towards Olovic, but that's into his grateful arms. Tell me received it after rule was taken down. Oh, legal, says the referee. Lofted up towards Olovic. Oh, it's been spilled here, and Fernandez, for a brief moment, had a good opportunity, and the SD Raiders bench were up in arms about the decision. Olovic came crashing down, and now there's some back and forth as Lastalitza has gone down. I mean, Stephen Lucas was right in the middle of that. It would have happened right in front of him, and now there's more sorting out to do here for Stephen Lucas. We saw this towards the latter stages of the first half. There's been a goal at Lambert Park. Meanwhile, straight out of the halftime break, the Northern Tigers have taken the lead against Apia Leichhardt. So a massive cup set potentially brewing there. The Raiders have their hands full here, that's for sure. Meanwhile, Olovic is on the deck now. It's important to note that Olovic is the number 2 keeper. Prendergast has been the main man in goals this season. And Olovic has been a very handy backup to have. And the man on the bench for United, who's just starting his warm-up now, is Adrian Jamie Bazina. Doesn't look like he'll be required. Olovic seems to be back on his feet as Bazina cracks a wry smile towards the supporters and jumps back down. Been in the 20s this season, sharing time on the bench and starting. 20-year-old, formerly of Rydalmere. Stephen Lucas just corrects the ball placement there, and that's another little flashpoint in this context. Very, very interesting second half. As Ulovic is back on his feet, ready to go. And tell me. Hatch has to quickly backtrack, and one back by Lee, who unleashes Velnic further forward. Some good link up here by the Raiders as now they race forward. Marcic. They'll come back for the foul, much to the dismay of the United supporters around the grounds, but there was a bit of a trip there on the far side. And Jennings has assisted Stephen Lucas in taking that over to the other side as chance for Donghua to put this in, and Stephen Lucas has another keen eye on some of the pushing and shoving around the edge of the area. Donghua stands over it. Good depth to the cross. Back out Fernandez, who tries to shoot through traffic. United clear, and it's fallen fortunately here to Chabot. Jennings is ahead, and this is the type of player you want on the break. He's in a foot race with Hannigan to get there, who is on a yellow card, of course. But it's clean as Figueira has to go for distance. Vlasic was held back by Marcic. Sabatu is under no real pressure and can get that forward to Cox Barlow, who sends that wide. A second goal here for United would be a massive boost for them. As long as it stays at 1, the Raiders are always in this game. Sabatu. He's tripped up by Wells, who went in strongly. Jonathan Sabatu. 18 appearances, 15 starts, all competitions for the 24-year-old this campaign. Him and Hannigan have been very busy, and now they might have to defend, and that's going to cause a bit of trouble here. Another yellow card. That time it's McGrath, so that's two defenders, with Hannigan and McGrath now on yellows. That's half of their back four here for Goran Laboya. Vlastelica asks a bit of Bailey rule in the air, who did win it. De Oliveira heads it forward, but a big shout of keeper from Figueira. And he's able to pick that up nice and easy. Goes for the direct option. Fernandez is up there. McGrath almost trips on it there and does. And for a brief moment, Antelmi and De Oliveira were in with a sniff on goal. Fernandez a bit too eager over the top of Vlasic. Here is Hatch. Looped up, but that's going to skip away for an easy Raiders goal kick. Lee. Tidy work in midfield, but it's given away here as De Oliveira is thinking about a second goal. It is taken down well by Figueira, and Goran Laboya is irate with his side. And some of these turnovers that weren't present in the first half, it was a good part of their game, the SD Raiders, the way they were able to keep the ball despite the pressure. Some of these turnovers at their back have started to creep into the contest. See if Laboya goes to his bench. He's got plenty of firepower there. Jennings and Tell Me make a few meters down that sideline. Very familiar with the 1-0 result here. Sydney United, 2 of their last 3 home games, all competitions have been won by that scoreline. They would certainly love a bit of breathing room. The SD Raiders, though, they're looking to re-establish a bit of stability with the ball. It looks like they could be going to the bench soon. Noah Anderson looks like the man that'll be coming on. Meanwhile, his team are on the attack before De Oliveira swings and wins a foul. Cox Barlow with the infringement. And it'll be the 17-year-old Noah Anderson, who will potentially get an opportunity here. Has the 3 appearances off the bench this season in first grade. Has a goal in the 20s as well. And will potentially have an opportunity here in a very big game. This will be his first appearance in the Waratah Cup this season. As Hatch has done well to keep that ball in the field of play. It means this side can hold on to the ball for a bit longer. Vlastelica has his head up. Wells makes his move on this wing, looking to isolate Sabatu, but that time he is equal to the task. And now that's going to force Figueroa into a scramble here. And he has scrambled, but he's done well to prevent the corner. And now here comes a substitution. This will actually be for United. And Adel Milicevic will be replaced by Mario Chabot, who's put in a tidy shift himself in midfield. Chabot still looking for that extra consistency in his minutes. Comes off limping a little bit. I wonder if that change is forced. But it's a very handy player to bring on, the young Adel Milicevic. A like-for-like swap in midfield. Looks like it'll be a triple change for Gore and Laboya. This side clear away from danger. McGing made it look easy with the shoulder as Vlastelica will let that roll down towards Orlovic. And so I'll wait a little bit longer for that triple change. But just to get ahead of it, it's going to be Noah Chianese, Sebastian Malfarra, and Noah Anderson, the trio that will come on here. Chianese, of course, with a goal in their last Australia Cup match against Blacktown City. As the Raiders knock it around the back. Malfarra, a long-time SD Raider as well. Foul picked up. Chianese with 7 goals, all competitions. Definitely looking for that goal-scoring output that his side are in need of at the moment. Figueroa looks towards the wing. Good combinations by Velnic and Cox Barlow, who makes a bit of progress down the wing. Now he gets to the byline. Has gone down under the challenge, and that'll be a foul. And Bailey Rule is going to take a booking for his troubles. Inventive work by Riley Cox Barlow. And so a triple change could be in the wings, and they'll do it now. First man off will be Oliver Velnich. Also coming off is Ham Dongwa. Marchich also looks to have been taken off in place of that trio, fresh legs, which is Noah Chianese, Sebastian Malfara and Noah Anderson. And so Goran Loboya has flipped the magnets in search of the all-important equaliser. They're crowding around Olovic. And Stephen Lucas again is keeping an eagle eye on all the happenings inside the box, of which there is plenty. Numbers jostling for position around Olovic. You'd think they'll be putting this potentially on the back post here. Ball is driven low in towards Chianese. It's going to be cleared. It was a decent effort by Malfara, his first involvement. Something from the training ground looking near post, you'd think. Here is Hannigan. He finds safety in his keeper, Figueira. Anderson is given something to chase as Lastalitza has sent that down towards the United faithful. An hour gone here at Sydney United Sports Centre. It's still Carlos de Oliveira's goal the difference. And they're just half an hour away from going back to the Waratah Cup final. Sydney United 58. The Raiders will no doubt have plenty to say about that between now and the 90. Hannigan. Chianese. The Raiders throw. In these last 5 minutes, they've shown much along the same lines of what they did in the latter stages of the first half. The SD Raiders keeping more of the ball, playing a bit more positively, but it's that cutting edge right now that they need. The cutting edge that they have had in the Cup, even if it has evaded them a little in the league in recent weeks. Cheap giveaway into the feet of de Oliveira, and now they've got numbers streaming forward here. One of them is Leroy Jennings. Cuts into his right foot, has Hatch overlapping, and this is where Matt Hatch can be so good. First time ball for Antelmi, big save, and then it's tucked in. You cannot give Patrick Antelmi a second opportunity from that sort of range. And he duly converts to make it Sydney United 2, SD Raiders 0. And it's off the back of Matt Hatch bombing forward for a rare chance in this game. A first-time cross is drilled into the feet of Antelmi. Figueira did all he could do with the first shot. But once the second fell to Antelmi, he just had to tap it in.
Sydney United, Patrick Antelmi. Sydney United 2, SD Raiders 0.
And it's their main man up top, Patrick Antelmi, who does it again. 7th goal for the season in all competitions. Continues to notch up a fantastic year. His first goal in the Waratah Cup this season. And a good time to get it as well. We spoke about the need for a bit of breathing room. And you think with how they're keeping the Raiders away from goal, that 2 goals will be a lead they'll feel fairly comfortable with for now. Raiders will need to respond quickly. Anderson. Malfara. Driven ball forward. De Oliveira knocks it back towards Jennings. And it's not like they've been out of this game, the Raiders. They've had their spells of possession, but just like the first half when they were seemingly starting to build something really substantial, United go back down the other end and put one in the back of the net. Just all the goal-scoring weapons that they do have, Sydney United. You cannot count them out for a second. And it started really with a cheap giveaway in midfield by the Raiders. It fell to De Oliveira. And from there, Matt Hatch, with all his speed and burst of acceleration, had the Raiders defence beat and slid Patrick Anselmi through. So Malfarra comes across to take this one. They go short. Marcic back to Malfarra. In it goes. Orlovic has to punch. Jennings takes no chances and clears that up towards Figueira. A tall task awaits for the ST Raiders. 25 minutes plus stoppages in this half as Chianese has gotten behind and, well, was just mere inches away from connecting with that one after McGing went to ground. Found himself all alone in space after the United central defender hit the turf. Anderson. That's Chianese centrally. Anderson. The quick step overs. Now he gets to the byline. Looking centrally, Orlovic is outstretched. It's still kept alive here. Swung and missed. And then blocked away Matthew Lee's effort. As Jennings gets there ahead, but McGrath sends it forward. High foot from Malfarra. And now him and Carlos De Oliveira have a bit of a coming together, and I think De Oliveira was perhaps goading him into that. United looking to take a bit more time off the clock further still. The story still is, oh, there's been another goal over at Lambert Park. RPA Leichhardt have equalised just now. So that could be set for a potentially thrilling finish. And United will hope it's not too dramatic here, and they will hope to coast on this 2-0 lead. And Orlovic, who is looking for his second consecutive clean sheet at home, has to clear. Vlasic doesn't like what he has ahead of him, so plays the sideways option to Jennings. Milicevic along the ground to Wells. Haven't seen too much of him in this second half, but he shows his man a clean set of heels. Mason Wells patiently plays Rule. Milicevic. Rule makes that underlapping run that he used against Sydney FC. Now he crosses, was looking for Antelmi, was just a metre behind him though. And now Marcic stands up and has found a handy pass out to Hannigan. Not too much in the way of support here for the SD Raiders. Now he looks over for Chianese. McGing heads that up, and that's going to be easy work for Josip Orlovic. Looks like Ante Juric is preparing a second change here. Lakalandra could be set for a bit of a stint off the bench here as Hatches joins another attack. Jennings is going to kick this one in the field of play. Jennings inside onto that right foot, top of the box. Milicevic couldn't quite get over that one, but it fell rather awkwardly to him. He was making his run forward and it just held up for him there. And so that change will come through now. Alessandro Lakalandra will be replacing rather the goal scorer, the second goal scorer, one of their favourite sons here at Sydney United Sports Centre, Patrick Antelmi, with an all-important second goal here. And so Alessandro Lakalandra, the young Sydney United striker, will get the best part of 20 minutes to try and extend this lead even further. And I've just been informed there's been another goal at Lambert Park in the meantime. RPA Leichhardt have taken the lead. They've gone 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes to take the lead for the first time against the Northern Tigers. Alessandro Lacalandra is on. No goals in first grade in the league this season for him. He scored a few in the 20s, of course. Has been splitting time there. Has 6 starts in the league this season for him. Does have a goal in the cup against the Glebe Gorillas in the early stages, as Rule looks to make a bit of a foray forward before it's dealt with by Letta, but only as far as Wells. It's not a convincing clearance. Milicevic off the shoulder is Lacalandra. His first involvement for a handy pass to De Oliveira. A third goal would surely be progression sealed to the next round for Sydney United 58. Ante Juric looking for some silverware in what has been a bit of a roller coaster season at the helm. They started rather shaky in 2025. Sydney United 58. They were down in the lower mid-table. A lot of that was down to significant injuries to the likes of De Oliveira, who's fouled here. And tell me, also spent a big part of the season on the sidelines too. But as they've got their players back and as they've put together consistent starting 11s, United have gone from strength to strength. And barring a special comeback from the SD Raiders in these last 20 minutes, be staring down another Waratah Cup final. Cox Barlow, touch was too heavy. And so another substitution is about to be processed for the SD Raiders. Ryoma Takagi will replace Matthew Lee. Takagi with 4 goals in all competitions this season. 2 of those in the league. 2 of those in the cup, of course, as well. Also in the earlier stages against the association sides. De Oliveira and Takagi is pinged for the foul there. First involvement for the substitute is to hear the referee's whistle. Now it's all about managing the game here for Sydney United. We've seen them look a little bit shaky at times closing out games, but they've built themselves a good 2-0 lead off the back of some clinical finishing as De Oliveira lost it centrally. Marcic cleared. The flag was up. I think that one was potentially against Vlastelica, who made his run a little too early. SD Raiders. How will they mount this comeback here? Milicevic brings it down well. Lacalandra and Wells. Milicevic looking for the reverse pass. It was ambitious, and it'll be shut down by Figueira. Well, for the SD Raiders, beyond this game, they have what is set to be one of the tastiest title races / promotion races we've seen in League One in recent years. The top 4 are separated after just 18 rounds of the season by just 2 points. Separates first and fourth, and interestingly, the sides in third and fourth have better goal difference than the sides in first and second. Nice turn by Sabatu. He's one inside, a bit of progress down the wing as Chianese looks to unleash Anderson in behind. Can't quite get there ahead of Orlovic. Because they've only picked up just the 1 point in their last 3 league games, the SD Raiders, they actually only lead League One by a singular goal on goal difference. That's ahead of Bulls FC Academy. Northern Tigers, the other side, they're in Waratah Cup action, are also in the hunt for their own promotion battle. They were heavy favourites for that as well, come start of the season. Just over 15 minutes to go United looking strong so far. The Raiders, all it'll take is just a goal to kickstart this comeback. Just to cut the deficit to 1, give themselves a chance and potentially some late cup drama as Hannigan is beaten to it by Vlastelica, who sends that back from whence it came. Takagi. He's now appeared in every Australia Cup game or Waratah Cup game for the SD Raiders. Ball is in for Cox Barlow. It's just swamped by red and white shirts immediately, but they can't keep hold of it there, United. Now they'll do so. And there's Hatch. Lets that roll down for a goal kick, so more time off the clock for Ante Juric's men. They're looking to manage their way through the final stages of this game. Olovic. Will go for distance, no doubt, and he does. Lakalandra is the target. It's going to fall actually kindly here for Wells, who has the ball at his feet. Wells has a shot on goal. And well, he did all the hard work there, Mason Wells, evading defenders that were making lunges at the ball. They just couldn't keep the shot below the crossbar. And now, the chance falls by the wayside as the United ball kids will be in no hurry to get this ball back to the Raiders. It's the magic of cup football. Figueira. An important toe in there by Sydney United. Are able to get the ball as there is Sabatu. Milicevic tries to make a bit of a nuisance of himself and delay their progress further forward. He does. Letter. McGrath. And Hannigan. Takes the space given to him. For a low-driven cross, it'll fall out for an SD Raiders throw. Another substitution is being prepared. This will be their final one. Bradley Marzal. It's the last man on the bench. Outfield player, that is. They still have backup goalkeeper Andrew Parkin as Figueira. An unforced error there will gift United possession. So here goes that substitution. Hannigan, who is on a yellow card and has been since about the 39th minute, will make way. He's had a decent game, especially in the first half. Cooper Hannigan was really tested. And so bench is cleared for the SD Raiders. Cross in from Lakaladra. Usually he would be the man in the box to receive those, so there's no one there. Hatch. Which is good reading of the game. Driven up towards Anderson. There's good numbers building here for the Raiders as Anderson beats a couple of defenders, but there's a third in the way. Rather no nonsense clearance from United means it stays at the feet of SD Raiders. Malthara. Driven cross, falls back to Malthara again. Marcic has the ball at his feet. Letter flicks that over the top of Wells. Sabatu is fouled. Milicevic a bit too strong there in the challenge, and now this is another good set piece here for the SD Raiders. They want to make the most of this. 35 yards or so out from goal. It's going to be Malthara to stand over it. Think about a chipped in cross towards the back post here. That's what he does, but he can't quite clear the first line of defence. Jennings has bought his side a good foul there. Will relieve the pressure, and there wasn't really anything doing there. And as Marzal's foul will give United a chance to just move the ball up the pitch ever so slightly. Oh, late challenge by McGing. Just cutting under Malfara there as Lakalandra gets himself in the way. Malfara, in no uncertain terms, moves him out of the way. As I mentioned, it's been a cup tie played in good spirits. It's had its moments with a few little coming togethers, but it's hasn't been too heavy. Kinezu. Raiders have been knocking the ball around. Oh, and a needless offside there for the Raiders. That's going to again bail out Sydney United 58. And meanwhile, there's been another goal at Lambert Park. This one for the Northern Tigers. They have equalised with 10 minutes to go. 2 goals all. They took the lead, they lost the lead, and now they've equalised the Northern Tigers. What a game that has been at Lambert Park. This one has been just as good for different reasons. And if these 2 results hold, you can continue your Wednesday night of football. Alex Molchanoff calling that one for you over at Lambert Park. Could be set for more late dramatics over there. United will be hoping it's a stress-free end to this one. They've had some very stressful games. This game against Sydney FC springs to mind in particular, where they conceded despite being up a man and then had to equalise in the 90th minute. And the important thing for United is they've kept the tempo slow and stopped the Raiders building significant momentum and stringing together consecutive chances. Third goal from the corner would surely do it. Towards the penalty spot it is. Vlasic is the intended target. The last touch off Cox Barlow. So Milicevic will get a chance to whip this one in from the opposite side. In front of the photographer's galley. Milicevic. In swinging left-footed delivery again towards Vlasic. That time it's cleared by the Raiders. Rule puts it back up towards Vlastelica, who goes down. And that's going to be a free kick in a very good position for Sydney United 58. Now have players all over this one. And now Vlastelica is at the centre of things again. I think Malfara is the closest man to him. There's about 10-15 players all within a metre of the ball. And now Stephen Lucas has to clear out the crowd because there's a very dangerous free kick to come. And with that in mind, De Oliveira has gone towards Figueira to try and disrupt him, getting a clean side of the wall. And so Milicevic and Vlastelica stand over this free kick. Six in the wall for Figueira. He has to get this one right. Just outside the 18. Can go either side, really. In the middle. Vlastelica and Milicevic. Has to be inch perfect from either one of them here to try and beat Figueira from close range to get up and over the wall as well, or around it. And there's now a total of 7 SD Raiders in this wall. Milicevic to the left. Vlastelica to the right. Who will it be? It's Milicevic through the wall, and a good save by Figueira. They're not away just yet here, the Raiders. It's with Brule, who goes to ground. And it's going to be a good foul. Won by Bailey Rule in a key position. And we'll see whether they just keep it in the corner here. Sydney United 58. Just over 5 minutes to go. They might think about adding the dagger here with Carlos de Oliveira's right foot. He already has a goal to his name. A well-taken goal it was. Can he add the assist? Towards the penalty spot, Smith Classic cleared off the line. And he puts his head in his hands. He knows that was goal bound. Had it not been for some last-ditch defending from the Raiders. He's been threatening all night, Michael Glasick. He made good connection with it this time. He's been marked out of a lot of these set pieces. It's the final 5 minutes of regulation time. Malfarra. It's approaching now or never territory for the Raiders. Sabatu was just shown the sideline by Wells, and that's more time off the clock for Sydney United 58. They fought valiantly to this point, the Raiders, but they've just been outgunned in front of goal by a Sydney United side that has taken their chances when they've come. There haven't been too many chances either way in this game, in all honesty, but just the added clinical striking of Sydney United has won this game so far for them. Still a bit of work to do to see this one out. You'd think there'd be a decent amount of stoppage time too. Another substitution is being prepared. It's going to be Thomas Mako replacing Carlos de Oliveira. So a like-for-like swap in midfield. And Carlos de Oliveira will take his applause from the Sydney United Sports Centre crowd from what was a very well-taken first-half goal. One that he'll want to see plenty of times over into the top corner from the edge of the area. He gets plenty of high fives from the United bench for a job well done through 87 minutes. Sabatu is forced backwards here. 11 behind the ball for United. They'll happily dig their heels in defensively for 5 minutes or so. It's been a good defensive display in the second half. They have really limited the Raiders' opportunities as Glasick puts that move to an end. And there's been another goal at Lambert Park. On the 89th minute, the Northern Tigers have taken the lead for the second time in the game. And they're just minutes away from punching their ticket to the Waratah Cup final. Marzal. I think word has gotten around the ground here of that goal because there's a bit of extra chatter happening about what the Northern Tigers are doing as Milicevic rather wins a foul, and that's going to relieve more pressure. The Northern Tigers in the 89th minute. What a topsy-turvy that one has been at Lambert Park. It's been mostly fairly smooth sailing for United. SD Raiders have shown why they're one of the best teams in League One this season, why they're the League One leaders and right now pole sitters for automatic promotion. It's been a good performance from United so far, but it hasn't necessarily been entirely comfortable. Figueira. Of course, if this result holds, it's not all doom and gloom for the Raiders. They still have that Australia Cup date to be announced. A spot in the round of 32 will await them. An interstate trip or potentially hosting A-League opposition. What a sight that would be. Vlastelica has to retreat and has put Hatch under a bit of pressure here. He has to go down the line, but he's unable to keep it away. Into the final minute of regulation time here. All eyes will turn to the fourth official as to how much time is left. Take something special from the Raiders here. We know they're capable of producing that at times. As Marcic has his cross blocked. Be another throw deep in United territory. So it'll be 4 minutes. That's the number that goes up. 4 minutes for United to hold out, or 4 minutes for the Raiders to get something as that effort falls out of play, and Milicevic is going to be booked for delaying the game and booting it out. There's a few United faithful start to make their way to the car park. They feel like the result is as good as done. Unconvincing clearance by McGing. Hatch is going to be asked to do a bit of work here. It's going to fall down for Glasic, who gets it back to Wells. Down the line for Lakalandra. Mako. Milicevic. Good quick passing out to Wells. Him and Sabatu have had a good battle throughout tonight. As United are just a couple of minutes away now from booking their spot in the Waratah Cup final. A chance to win a 7th Waratah Cup. What a feat that would be. They are the Cup specialists. They know how to get to the Australia Cup national rounds. They know how to get wins against A-League opposition when they get there. They are no strangers to the big stage. In fact, they revel in that opportunity. All eyes are on Stephen Lucas as to how much time is left for United to see this result out now, which looks to be in basic certainty. Here is Hatch. He'll be credited perhaps with the assist for the second goal, even if it was deflected. It's been a good performance, mostly from the SD Raiders. They've had their moments, but they just have been unable to breach this solid United defence, which is looking for their 3rd straight clean sheet at home in all competitions. Figueira will scramble across to take what might be the last goal kick of the game. Lumped up top. Vlastelica is there in the air. Another foul goes the way of United. A few thought that that was the full-time whistle. Just still a bit of time left. And confirmation of the score. Lambert Park. Still 3-2 there with stoppage time. 4.5 minutes gone. Quick check of the watch from Stephen Lucas. Whistles start to go around the ground as Lakaladra could potentially pinch a third here. Has tried the shot and couldn't quite get his laces underneath that one there to chip it over Figueroa. That would have been the icing on the cake. And so full time at Sydney United Sports Centre. The Kings of the Cup are going back to the big dance again. Sydney United 58 will have the chance to win their 7th Waratah Cup. And they've done so, knocking off the giant killers, the SD Raiders, unable to make it a 4th side that they've beaten in the NPL this Cup campaign. It was a great campaign from them. They still have the Australia Cup national rounds to look forward to. But in the end, it's goals to Carlos de Oliveira and Patrick Antelmi that seal progression to the final 2 for Ante Juric's men. A great contest on a Wednesday night here. It's been great fun bringing it to you. I've been Will Constantinides. On behalf of Football New South Wales, we'll see you for the Waratah Cup final.